Good morning. This morning we had JP Morgan. Thanks, D man. Yeah, dude. It's I really try not to look at gifts in the face. Um when I get a gap up and then a secondary gap up back to back days, I'm absolutely trimming into that. So um it was important. It was important to get some off into that move. JP Morgan, nothing terribly wrong with it. It does need some more digestion. Citigroup, flat. Wells Fargo, I mean, hanging out near the 20 simple moving average. BLK down a little bit as well. And Bank of New York Mellon, BK. Yeah, I mean, we really won't know until the open. Nothing. I had it on the watch list last night, over $109, and it's gapping over. So I'm just kind of waiting for it to give me a secondary setup. Nothing. I had AMD on watch as well, but it's also gapping up. So there is no entry strategy on this gap up here. It's a little extended from the 50. I wanted a few more days of sideways anyway, but I talked about it on last night's watch list video over 147 and 3/4, 147.75. And it's just taking off without me. So same with Baba, and I don't chase unless there's a reason to, and there's no reason to chase either of these. Do I like pins? Well, let's take a peek. Um, no, not really. Not yet. I like flattening pivots, and this doesn't have a flattening pivot. This just kind of has a wedge. I don't like wedges. I want to see few options, right? I like flat, right? Or I like moves up, and then I like flags into the ascending moving averages, right? But I don't like setups like this. You got a couple choices. And this one, I just don't like this kind of setup. It needs to flatten a little bit, which means it needs to come down and build out a flat pivot, a higher low. Could it go right from here? I mean, maybe, but I don't know. Yeah, Tesla looking a whole lot better. No, I have not covered my Rigetti short. Yeah, there is no entry strategy for an AMD. Let it give you a secondary setup. Greetings from Italy. I have family who has a home there in Scouty. Right between Rome and Naples. Thoughts on LIF before yesterday? I mean, wasn't terrible. Plenty fast. More of a recent IPO, not terrible, but nothing to hate, I guess. So CPI came right in line. What's my favorite SA indicator? What's SA stand for? And yes, I use moving averages. Those are absolutely my favorite. Why I like Tesla? Because one, I don't think the bull market ends without Tesla having made a big move. There is no favorite situational awareness indicator. I don't know that makes sense. Situational awareness is situational awareness. There is no indicator for that. I guess if I were to say if there were an indicator, it would be how setups are following through. That would let you know that you're in a good market. I don't have a HVC position on MP. But yeah, I use simple moving averages. But what really kind of what I use for situational awareness is scanning, right? Is knowing that stocks are breaking out of clean setups, right? And following through. That should smack you in the face. And that's situational awareness, right? Or watching a bunch of stock stuff at pivots and realizing it's a choppy environment. That's also situational awareness. There should be no reason for a cut, for an interest rate cut. I still don't think that's coming. But yeah, as for Tesla, I don't think that a bull market ends without Tesla really making a nice move at some point. So we'll see. We'll see if this thing can start to live above the 200 simple moving average. That would be great. Yeah, do I like HSAI? Yeah, not bad. Super volatile. We'll see what happens when this thing clears highs. NNE's a laggard. That's my thought on NNE. You should throw that one in the trash. You should have either bought SMR, right? Effectively near all-time highs, either on Friday or yesterday as it was going back to the 20, or bought Oklo yesterday, which we did at 58 bucks. And they got a $73 price target increase this morning, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, 73. But NNE can't even get over May's high. This thing can't even get over May's high. Meanwhile, May's high and SMR went and made a new high, right? NNE couldn't even do that. Just throw this one in the trash. CCJ is your leader. This is your undisputed leader. This one and GEV, your two leaders, and I guess LEU. But the best company in the group is CCJ. You can't have nuclear facilities without Kazatomprom or Cameco, and Kazatoprom's not publicly traded. Yeah, it could be that Amazon has an inside day setup. Yeah, I don't mind CRS. I liked it more at 217 bucks out of this flat base. Yeah, Archer, it just needs to get going. It needs to get going, man. It's kind of lagging. It almost makes me not want to own it. I'd rather own Joby and find my way into Joby somehow. It just needs some more tightening, probably. Yeah, AMSC for semiconductors, beautiful. Oh, AMSC. Yeah, gorgeous. Also extended from the 50, though, so just be careful buying anything that's extended. That's a no-no. You do not want to be buying extended. Yeah, Google could be an idea to buy above the pivot. 5-minute opening range break. AMD Corey's a little bit too extended, in my opinion. Not only was a little bit extended, and I'm sure you watched last night's watch list video. If you did, you heard me talk about it. I was looking for another higher low, but I was willing to buy it through the 147.5 pivot, which obviously beautiful move. Wish we were in this. But I just won't be chasing a gap up. But the important part, even like how I talked about Baba last night, at the very least, you can feel good that we're finding the right stocks to be in. Right? So that's half the battle. Right? If you're not finding the right stocks to be in, then you're going to struggle. It's already hard enough job as it is. MRVL pass below the 200. GDS extended. Where's the setup? This is just, there's no setup here. This is just straight up. Where's the sideways tightening? Disney's super slow. This shouldn't even be on your radar. It moves 1.3% per day. And Nike a little bit better as a potential higher low setup and a bounce off the high volume close. 7204. Yes, I'm still riding IBIT. I trimmed some more yesterday. I trimmed some on Friday and I trimmed some yesterday into the gap up at about, I can tell you right now, about 68 and some change dollars. I trimmed some more yesterday at 68.93. But yes, I'm still riding my IBIT. There's no reason for me to exit my IBIT. Yeah, this sedge is starting to look a whole lot better. The more we can go sideways here, the better. Let the 50 catch up. But this is flagging out nicely. 60-minute chart looks probably really, really nice. Sure enough, it does. Yeah, looks good. Building a series of higher lows. Right, looks great. Snap, terrible. It's below the 200 simple moving average. Guys, for everybody on stream listening right now, you have to put a 200 simple moving average on your chart. No big moves in stock market history have ever, and I mean ever, occurred below the 200 simple moving average. The biggest moves in stock market history have always occurred above. All of them, right? I don't, again, this isn't me picking on you, David. I hope you know. But I don't give a shit how clean of a flag it is. If it's below the 200 simple moving average and you take 1,000 trades in your career, you're eventually going to hate yourself and you're going to quit trading. If you keep buying stock, and I'll reiterate, if it's below the 200 simple moving average, you'll end up hating yourself. Stop trading stocks below the 200 simple moving average, period. It's not worth your effort. It's not worth your time. It's not worth your energy. I mean, you're over here telling me that this piece of shit is still below the 200 simple moving average while the stock market's at an all-time high? No thanks. No thanks. At least Sedge is above the 200 now, right? Built some higher lows, bottomed on horrible news, straight up from bad news, and now at least going sideways, right? In a group that's starting to act a little bit better if you look at the TAN ETF, right? Which looks identical to Sedge. Doesn't mean it's perfect, but at least it's above the 200. So at least let something get above the 200 at the very least. Snap, you're just not going to like yourself after a 500 trade, 500 trades. And the only exception, and I mean only exception that I make to that rule, is if it's got a nice technical setup and they're one of the 10 best companies on planet Earth, right? A nice technical setup below the 200 on Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Apple, Tesla, Eli Lilly, Berkshire Hathaway, Meta, and that's about it, right? It's like if you're not one of the 10 greatest companies on planet Earth, I won't even consider you below the 200 because there's just no point. Big moves just do not occur below the 200. Maybe this piece of shit is so beaten up, it's got 100% move to go to get to the 200. That's fantastic. I don't care, right? My job is to try and be in the best stocks in the market, not the worst. And institutions will lead you to what the best are. Focus on things that are above key moving averages. BSX. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, this thing is fantastic, man. Look at what happens when this thing gets above the 200 simple moving average. And then all of a sudden it's in a forever trend. Yeah, this thing's not terrible. It's in a huge base, man. Huge. I don't know. It's a little slow is the problem. Moves 1.8% per day. AOI starting to really get my attention too. Earnings estimates going forward are amazing. Sure enough, another little gap up overnight. This thing hit my alert yesterday at 29 bucks. I did not take it. Now we're at 31. It's kind of a mistake on my part. Should have been paying attention to this thing a little bit more. When it got above the 200, started to trade much bigger volume, and every little pullback was finding support on the rising 10. Should have paid attention to it a little bit more yesterday when it triggered my alert. I had a small alert right over these wicks, and I just never took it. You could see it on the 60-minute, right? Resistance, 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 and then it took it out yesterday, and I just kind of ignored it like an idiot. How do I like SMCI? It's undergoing accumulation. It's a bit choppy, but it does look like this thing may have bottomed. It does look like it may have bottomed. The problem with Uber right now, it's in a bad group. Software application is so unloved right now. It's crazy. That's the problem. Not that I dislike Uber. I really like Uber. I just hate the group it's in. Oster, yeah, OUST. Ideally, a bit more sideways sounds good. Let the 50 catch up. Yeah, we're still 50% away from the 50 simple moving average. Just too extended here still. KTOS. This thing's been a beast. This was on my radar in the 30s, but no, I don't like KTOS up here. Too extended. I liked it down here out of this flat pivot. And then it ended up just taking off beautifully. Very choppy on the way up, but so was DRS, but now it's too extended here. I'm assuming it can go higher, but I can't buy it this extended from the 50. DRS, same deal. I had them on the watch list at the exact same time. Flat pivot. They took off at the exact same time, and the group is really strong. Aerospace and defense, very, very strong group. So I like 5. Yeah, 5's got a really nice setup. This one almost made my watch list yesterday, but I did just leave it off. Yeah, very nice. Let's see what these others look like. Dollar General. Yeah, look at this thing. They might as well be the exact same chart. And Dollar Tree. Yeah, I mean, look at this. This thing won't even go sideways. It's just like kind of steady marching up the 10 and the 20. I don't know if you mean trading stocks below the 200. Carvana was a good example, but guess what? You didn't need to own Carvana below the 200. I hear this like, oh, the accumulation below the 200, but guess what? It had a nice flag when it finally got above the 200, right? Series of higher lows. So could have bought it there and then had a nice little trade on it. But guess what? The best breakout was 50 bucks. Was this little flat pivot right here. And not until it got, on an earnings gap up over 50 as a high volume close setup, almost $70. And then what it ended up doing. Massive move. I mean, this thing is giving you multiple entries along the way. The biggest move did not occur below the 200. The biggest move occurred above the 200. Yeah, but not often. I will trade lower ADR stocks, but not that often. There's just no reason to, typically. Oklo, very nice. I bought Oklo yesterday, and this thing just took out yesterday's highs. Let's go, Oklo. 65, 66 bucks today, and we can go ahead and peel some off. VST actionable today. It's tightening. It probably goes for a run at all-time highs here any moment. My assumption is, yeah. It's not really extended, so yeah. If the stock opens at my trigger level, I look at a 5-minute opening range break. Yeah, cake, big cup and handle. First of all, I love the cheesecake from the Cheesecake Factory. It was funny because I compared cake to Rubric, where it just kind of came up to it just like wedged into the left side peak and then just kept going. And sure enough, Rubric was the exact same thing. Wedged up into the left side peak and then just kept going. And Eat is also acting really well. Or not Eat, sorry, Shack. But I don't love the setup here. K-Web. Good eye, dude. Thank you for bringing this one up to me too. A little gappy, which I hate personally, but I'm gonna keep an eye on this thing. COHR. Oh yeah. Wow. $100. Slow and steady. Market Surge, Deep View, FinViz. You know, Market Surge is going to rank them by number, which is very convenient. GDX, do I think it's setting up for a move higher? Could be. Obviously, it's not going to go anywhere without gold, and gold looks okay. You know, needs to get moving here pretty soon. But, you know, it is just tightening up. Nothing wrong with gold. It's been doing nothing for the last month and a half. My thoughts on super choppy. God, super choppy. You know, Jim, when I'm unsure about how I feel about a setup, you know what I like to do? I go and look at the rest of the stocks from the group. So when on looks like this, I go and look at deck, and then I say, wow, that looks like shit. I go and look at Crocs, and then I say, wow, that also looks like shit. And then very quickly, I dismiss on. Mantis, this is very portfolio dependent. What I look for in dollar volume may not be what you should be looking for in dollar volume. So it's all dependent on, you know, the size of your portfolio. An inside day setup is exactly what it sounds like. You get a move up, the next day's price action occurs within prior's day high and low, and that's an inside day. Do I plan to buy more IBIT? Yeah, if it gives me another daily setup, but there is no daily setup here. In fact, we're just going to be gapping down all the way to 66 and change. So there's no setup going on here. CW, Cordis, right? Yeah, this thing needs some more digestion. After a super move like this, it needs a little bit more sideways. Also, it moves kind of slow. You know, shouldn't really be trading this one, in my opinion. Yeah, Baidu running on news. Yeah, a lot of the Chinese stocks are up today. Baidu back over the 200, which is good. Baba's up quite a bit. I won't be chasing this one, but really nice to see. Yeah, Archer is ready, but Archer's also lagging. You know, I thought something similar. I thought Archer's ready, but then I look at it and compare it to Joby, and I'm like, man, one is just much better than the other. No, I would not trade AIRO. I don't really trade new issues like this. It depends, Nana. It really depends. If I think it's like a really big base breakout, I might sell a third. If I think you know, it's like a shorter flag and the market's been kind of iffy, right? I might sell half. Yeah, EQT. It wasn't just EQT yesterday. You also had some strength and a bounce in AR off the 200 simple moving average, and you also had a bounce on RRC off the 200 simple moving average, basically. HIMS. God, this is terrible price action. No, I'm good. I'm not going to trade HIMS right now. Toast price action also sucks, but could be ready to go. If it's gonna get going, it's got to get going soon. Yeah, BE, I don't mind. MGNI. No, this is just too extended from the fit. There's no real setup here. Where's the sideways? Oddity, much better. It's got to bounce off the 50 here, though. So if it can hold on to the 50, that would be good. It's been a nice earnings winner. These recent earnings, speaking of these earnings moves, they are starting to lose a little bit of steam, whether you're talking about a Sezzle or a Dave. A little bit of steam. Ollie, this one had a pretty big base that it broke out of. Yeah, I would almost suspect Ollie can keep going. So long as like your Dollar General, Dollar Tree, and Five Below are also going, I would suspect that Ollie can as well. AGX, fantastic. It's a nice looking setup. Bounced right off the 50, has already shown you that it wants to make a big move. Digestion, big move, digestion. Could be ready to go here pretty soon. I already talked about AOI. Looks good. It's gapping up though today. Should have been bought yesterday over 29. Trim and trail, trim and trail. Does DAL having good earnings mean that you expect other similar stocks to go up as well? What if the one you're holding isn't? Well, then the one you're holding is terrible and you should probably get rid of it. If you bought DAL and then all of a sudden the one you're holding, and DAL, by the way, had a really nice high volume close entry yesterday, very similar to how I bought CCL. Right, you get the gap up, you get the inside day, you get the high volume close setup. Very, very simple setup. But if you bought a DA, or if you're holding like another airline and it's acting terribly, then you should probably get rid of it. Well, it's not a bull flag, Strata. How could you take a bull flag if it has no sideways action? It's not a bull flag then. That's like an oxymoron. Like how does that even make any sense? How could you possibly take a bull flag that has no sideways? It's not a bull flag then. It's just some fucking random pattern. Right now, my stop on IBIT is just above flat. I've already trimmed, so it's a green trade no matter what happens. No, I don't think my sell rules need too much adjusting, Aldrich. What really needs adjusting is my patience. I look at stocks like CLS and I sold it entirely too soon, right? It's just about maybe trimming a little bit more under strength and really using two closes below the 20. I know that sounds kind of shitty to hear, but and this is coming out of a correction. Sell rules got to get adjusted a little bit at the later on you get into the cycle. So, but that's something we can talk about another time. Yeah, Oyster needs a little bit more sideways. Well, then you play it as a high or low setup, Strata. It's not a bull flag. It's just a high or low setup. Yeah, grab's an interesting one. Just needs to get going. I don't know if there's room in hood. It's extended from the 50, not one I would be buying. No, the only thing I bought was Oklo yesterday. I did not buy TMC. This is not really a setup for me, man. Oklo, much better. My rules around trimming, I like to trim typically between days 3 to 5. I like to trim a third, do a half, and then I just trail the rest on the ascending 10 and 20. Market trades, yeah, good question. How extended from a trigger level are you willing to take the trade? Let's say the 5-minute opening range break opens and the stock is 0.75 average true range from your level. Would you still take the trade? Yes, I would. But I want to know what group it's in. I want to know that the group is pushing higher. I want to know what market it's in, right? If it's a NASDAQ stock, if it's a tech stock, is the QQQ pushing higher? And then finally, if it's, a faster mover, I might just size it down a touch. That's it. Yeah, so I just trim and trail. Under what circumstances do you just add to your position? I just add to my positions if they reset up again on the daily. So build a higher low, build a high type flag, build a flat base, etc. Is this the time to close short positions? If you're not gaining any traction, then yes, but this is probably a good time to keep an eye out for relative weakness, because when the market begins to show distribution, those are the names you probably want to be short. You own Boeing instead of Delta? What's wrong with Boeing? Boeing's actually been stronger than Delta. Delta just got above the 200 like yesterday. Boeing's been trending above the 200 for 3 months now. Yeah, YMM's interesting. Absolutely is. Yep, app loving as well. This one was on last night's watch list, Isaac. Just needs to get going. Evan, yeah, same question. Strata, too many questions, brother. I feel like you're not going to learn anything. Trying to ask me 46 questions. Soak in, soak in one thing at a time, man. Think about this as a really long career that's going to take you a few months and years to really dial in. You're asking me about flags and high volume closes and stops and trailing, and you're asking too many questions that you may not remember everything. Be patient with yourself, dude. Be really, really patient. Oh, AAP, Advanced Auto Parts. Ah, man. Yeah, I mean, nice one. I'm more of an O'Reilly guys myself. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I mean, AAP, nice move. I don't know that I would have played this one, but it's working. I've spoken about Sezzler, Dave. They're starting to lose a little bit of steam. Yeah, I didn't take NBIS with that upgrade yesterday. I personally, didn't love the setup going into yesterday to just buy the gap up. But if it can print an inside day today, pullbacks against flattening and ascending moving averages, or a $55 breakout, all look like pretty good options. No, it's not about stage 3 to 5. It's day 3 to 5, B. I like to buy something that's coming out of a tight area, right? Like ARC. And then on day 3 to 5, right? So you get this nice little pivot breakout, and then I'm trimming into this strength. And then now I can just trail the rest, right? Similar to how CCL, right? You're buying the breakout or the high volume close setup, and you're trimming into the strength. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days up in a row. So it's like, I'm trimming into this, and then now I can just trail. That's my preferred method, right? You're buying the breakout, and then you get a 4-day move. I'm trimming on Friday. I'm trimming some more, right? Day 3 through day 5, right? And yesterday was day 4. So I like trimming into the strength, and that just allows me to trail the rest. Love has definitely been acting well. Yeah, Love looks like a leader. It gapped up on Delta Airlines earnings. We've had distribution days, but the market just seems to be brushing them off. Yeah, ASTS looks cool. Still a bit extended from the 50 for me to buy it, so I won't be buying ASTS here. Reddit. Yeah, Reddit's looking a little bit better too. Maybe a higher low setup, finding support against the rising 20. You prefer Unity to app? Unity feels like one of those names that's going to get bought out for some reason. Don't ask me why. But you look at the weekly on this thing. How could I prefer Unity to App Lovin' when Unity looks like this over the last 2 years, and App Lovin' looks like this over the last 2 years? Right? These aren't even the same. One is just a million times better. AS, this one was also on the watch list last night. It's just at some point, is this just too much digestion off of earnings, right? Like, how come you're not going higher? KC, that's a Chinese name, huh? Kingsoft or whatever. I remember Casey, I was looking at this thing down here, right? You had this move up, you had this pullback against the 200, and then this little slight gap up. And then when it went move up, gap up, move up, gap up, this is where I got interested in it. I was like, wow, that's unbelievable. And then sure enough, it kept going. Watching this thing at 3 and then it going to 20 is just something. I also like QFIN. FinViz. Go to FinViz, type in the stock name, and then you'll see what group it's in. PDYM looks good. Yep, a little bit. Looks all right. I don't think it looks as good as like a UMAC or an RCAT. But yeah, drones. Drones is a theme, and a big one apparently. Yeah, if I get traction on my stock right away, I improve my worst case scenario. No, I don't like him. It's too choppy. Brock, hell yeah. Love to hear that, brother. Yeah, I don't care about this. This isn't news that I chase. I don't care about a stock being included into the S&P 500. For one, it's still below the 200 simple moving average, which is at $93 basically. And two, Datadog just did the exact same thing. They got included into the S&P 500 here. And guess what happened every single day since then? Straight down. I don't view that as news to be a buyer. It's not news I care about personally. No, Jax, we'll talk about this in the room too, brother. We won't be taking Baba today. If Baba's going higher, we will get another opportunity to get in on it. Whether it's a 200 or a higher low setup above the 200 simple moving average, a 50 SMA undercut and rally, a little, flat base breakout, a high type flag. We'll get something. But, we don't got to be in a rush to own it, right? The nice part is, like AMD, at least they're on our radar, right? So I think that's the important part. They're on our radar. We're finding them. If they're just going without us, so be it. We'll keep finding stocks to put on our radar. What's my opinion on COMM? What's funny is this setup here kind of reminds me a little bit of Grab. Big move up, big digestion. COMM doesn't look all that bad. Grab also, another one of those. You get this kind of a big move up, big digestion. We'll see. But I do like Calm. Nice small cap name. Maybe not my favorite, but hanging in there. CoreWeave, something about a $6 billion investment this morning I saw. Yeah, I wouldn't be buying this gap up personally. I like stocks moving through my pivots. Yeah, a little extended from the 50 here though. Bit extended, right? You don't want to really come in after this move. This is the kind of move you want to catch. Gold, huh? CEG does look good. It's in the right group right now. These nuclear powering names, CEG or a GEV, these utility companies, VST, CCJ, LEU, SMR, Oklo, a handful of really nice looking stocks. So anyway, guys, as always, appreciate you guys all for being here. I will see you guys bright and early, 23 hours from now. Please trade them well. Don't do anything crazy. And the rest of you guys, I'll see you in the room. And we will see you guys in 23 hours. Wolf is a bit of a laggard, Victor. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow, bright and early.